Hello, IK here. Welcome to poor function. Poor function is something what is to have in functional programming, and React is full of poor function. Of course, we want that all can be poor function, but it is impossible. Why? What is poor function? Poor function. Poor function is function what have not side effect. What had not side effect. But a component, React component, must have contact with the document object model. It is side effect. React component must fetch data from remote server. It is side effect. It is outside of component, side effect. And how it is solved? It is solved by first principle in acronym SOLID. It is separation by concern, separation by goals. For example, here is a add post form. Add post form is a poor function, but take care, it is component with add post form, and that component is only for that form and our interaction for that form and abstraction and control that form with state. But when we type input field and type in content, that must be sent, that must be dispatched here to, must be dispatched, add new post, tank, must be dispatched outside, must be dispatched to remote, dispatched to reducer in Redux, but it go to at first to remote server. That title and content must be sent to remote must be request, asynchronous request, and that asynchronous request send title dispatch request title and content to server, and server response data go at first pending type action go to would be dispatched to store to reducer, and after that fulfilled or rejected. And what is here poor function? Component. How? Because it is border add the new post, because poor function add post form component function delegate task about asynchronous processing. Delegate to whom? To middleware, to tank function. Concretely here, add the new post. And any error in around that dispatch add new post would be catch by try, catch, finally configuration. All would be all what happened with the asynchronous process would be here stopped, and don't touch component. Component by this try catch finally is and dispatch add new post delegate task asynchronous process, delegate to add new post tank function, and add post form stay pure function without side effect. Side effect is asynchronous process is would be take care about side effect tank function, other function, tank function, and tank function, a new post, is not pure function, is not pure function. And it is like other functionality. And it is also separate by concern. Add new post tank, take care about asynchronous process, take care about asynchronous request, title, content, take response data, and the dispatch pending type action, dispatch fulfill type. It is all about that asynchronous process. But it is isolate from add post function. Add post function take care about declaring local variable, and here it is JSX language that return form with abstractions with this title and content state, and that would be dispatched by would be dispatched and delegate that task of dispatch delegate to action creator tank, and it is when we see all other places in all other architecture of React is all like that. For example, take care about component must be rendered or re-rendered. Initial rendering must be every initial rendering. It is like loading programs. There is nothing in memory, and first every program must be loaded, and every component must be initial rendered. It is loading component. But same time, and it is ready. Post list we see must there is a use effect, and after initial rendering, post list there is activate call use effect hook, and use effect dispatch fetch post, and you see that post list is isolate from asynchronous process. How? By use effect. Use effect would be called after initial rendering, and use effect would be called arrow function, and in arrow function would be activate dispatch tank function, action creator. It is also it means that post list is pure function, but tank is not pure function, because there is a side effect. There is must go out in a remote server and communicate with that remote server. Okay, but how we isolate our components from contact with the document object model? Because document object model, it is laying in memory, and contact our component if contact directly with the document object model, but must be some contact. It would be a side effect in our component, and component would not be pure function. because there is a side effect. But how it is solved? It is solved by a virtual document object model. When created in beginning, actual model object, document object model, it is a part of a screen, what we see on the screen, but it is all what we see on the screen. And it is HTML, what we see through in index.html through a div ID root. In that part, div ID root, we see actual document object model. And if every time when our component re-rendered, it would be changed actual document object model. And every of our components would not be poor if that contact would be directly. Because of that, we have in React, we have a virtual document object model. Virtual document object model, for example, it is change this function on change. It is for that virtual document object model, it is light document object model. It is dynamic, it is running, it is not passive lay in memory like actual document object model. Actual document object model is what we see on the screen. But when we interact, we activate event. It is event, our interaction with that. And the event is on change. It is JavaScript event when we touch keyboard in input or text area. Also on click, it is event on click. And that on change, on click is important. They call event handler. And the event handler change state, concretely here it is value, it is content here, or here is a title. Change title in a virtual document object model. And the virtual document object model compare, there is an algorithm what start and compare before virtual document object model with now new document object model. And the difference, it is only about data. And the difference, if exists difference, that new data, that new virtual document object model activate algorithm. It is called reconciliation. Algorithm analyze very fast how to implement that state changes. And we see that on title changed, virtual document object model and algorithm, process reconciliation, re-render, update only input value, only this input value, not all components, not all components. And you see that we have a component, that component must produce more component or one component what create together what we see on the screen, user interface. It is what we see on the screen is a document object model, actual document object model. And our component must create actual document object model, but it is outside. It is, our document would not be poor function. And if they don't poor function, it is very dangerous for bug, for a lot of problems. If everywhere where it is no, where we have a side effect, it is dangerous for something what can happen without our control. And because of that is important poor function, no side effect. It is encapsulation. Nobody can disturb, encapsulate part of script, and component is encapsulation of script or what they have, but that contact with concretely the document object model, actual document object model, go through virtual document object model. And look at on change, event on change, trigger function on title change, and that handling, event handling, is part of the important part of virtual document object model. And changes in virtual document object model go to compare first and this new one between two virtual documents. And if difference exists, algorithm decided how change actual document object model, and after that we see on the screen. And it is how React architecture complete is created. Complete is created. We create all by principle, first principle, acronym SOLID, separate by concern, separate by goal, by target. And this add post form, target is show on the screen, add post form for add new post, and abstraction for that to be controlled for controlled, and declare state of component, and it's all. But send that title and values, send that variable to remote request to remote server. It is delegate to action creator, dispatch and action creator, tank function. And the tank function is not poor function because there is take care about asynchronous process and have side effect. I would say here something about initial rendering. Initial rendering is like loading programs, like loading programs. It means initial rendering. Every component must go in memory and must go in JavaScript single thread process. And it is initial rendering, loading program. And after initial rendering, we see some component can be visible immediately after immediately on the screen, like add new post, and we're waiting for post list below that, because post list must go to contact to remote server, and we must fetch post from remote server. But thanks to event of component life, event component was mount, what is in the end of initial, every component in the end of initial rendering, there is an event component was mount, and that event can call what we want. We want that it call hook use effect, And in that use effect, we call arrow function, and in arrow function, we call dispatch tank function, and tank function request title and content, request to remote server, and response data. We have action pending type to be dispatched to reducer, and action fulfilled or rejected type. It means that in use effect we have delegate, and by component was mount event, we delegate task of asynchronous process, delegate to tank function. But always in that process of creation document object model, at first would be created in process of initial rendering, and for other component we need re-render it. And it created, that process created a virtual document object model. And a virtual document object model by algorithm and process reconciliation declare changes actual document object model. And this is separation by concern. Virtual document object model take care about that algorithm and changes actual document object model. It don't care about that component only care about interaction with user. I don't like definition, but definition of poor function is same input always give same output, and it is confused definition. But definition of poor function, my definition is there is no side effect. There is no, what is side effect is something what we cannot control in that component, in that function. Something what coming from outside of our programs asynchronously, we cannot control it. And if we have same input in our functional component, and the input is state and props, and if we have the same input, but because of outside, because side effect, we don't never know what the result would be. It is excellent example with our dispatch and with our asynchronous process contact remote server or database. We never know what would be in that asynchronous process. But with that asynchronous process, isolate, also encapsulate in tank function or action creator, encapsulate that process. And any error would be connected, we know immediately would be connected for that encapsulation, that process, asynchronous process. And our component also encapsulate, and it is separate part of our script, but they contribute our component. Every component cooperate with the action creator, function action creator. Component is poor function. Action creator is not poor function, have side effect. Also, we see actual document object model, what we see on the screen, and virtual document object model, what like listening every changes of state in our interaction, because of our interaction with user interface, immediately changes virtual document object model state. And virtual document object state compare with the previous version. If difference exists, activate algorithm and process reconciliation would be activated, and algorithm save performance of our application and would not re-render actual document object model what don't need re-render, what is waste of resource. Okay, it's all for this video. Thank you for watching this video.